Armada Book 5 Chapter 5 The Insertions Part 3. Eric's operatives were all deployed to planet Earth in their first target dimension. Ribani got himself a rental car, a medium-sized sedan, and waited for Andrew to drive off the parking lot. The Kligo ship AI named Carlos was giving him Andrew's real-time position. Carlos told Ribani he will be turning right on the main street in 3 minutes. Ribani positioned himself just outside the parking building exit but parked on the street. He intended to move his car across Andrew's path when he makes a right turn from the parking lot exit because the exit is a one-way street towards the right. Andrew is looking to his left. Turn your car now, Ribani. Ribani made a sharp left to enter the street, and as expected Andrew hit his left side. Ribani tried to move his car further into the lane to increase the damage and also so he can get out from his side. Ribani tried to open the door but it was jammed by the impact. He moved to get out via the right door. After a little struggle he stepped out and assumed an angry and fuming face. "Do you know how to drive?" he shouted at Andrew. Andrew just got out of his car and calmly apologized to Ribani. "Look buddy, my insurance will take care of your car and I am willing to issue a check for $3,000 to cover your troubles," Andrew offered. Ribani made it appear this offer angered him. "So now you go on and hit another car and pay the guy and then go on your merry way to hit another car? You are unthinking and stupid," he shouted. "Look, it's just a fender bender, nothing to get excited about." Carlos told Ribani, "A car is turning left towards you from the corner to your right and 2 guys have guns and they are beginning to stick them out of the car windows. They will fire in less than a minute." Ribani grabbed Andrew by the front shirt and pulled him to the back of his car as the guns started hitting Ribani's car. As the guns hit Andrew's car, they were already crouched on the other side of Andrew's car with Ribani shielding Andrew with his body. "Are you okay, buddy?" Ribani asked. "Thanks, you saved my life. How did you know they were going to shoot at us?" "I saw guys sticking out something that looked like guns out of the windows as they turned." "I'm Andrew man." Ribani shook his hand and, "Larry Ribani." All the while, Ribani was asking Carlos what was that all about. "That was not part of our plans. Ribani, our people are trailing them right now. Patamo said they will all be tagged and mind read." Carlos told Ribani. "Carlos, I will move Andrew into the parking lot. Once there, beam him into a time box and then beam me over to the bank where Tony works." Ribani held Andrew's arm. "Come on buddy, let's move over to the parking lot, just in case they turn around and come back to shoot at us again." Andrew nodded and they jumped over the wall of the parking lot and hid behind the wall. Carlos then beamed Andrew into a time box. Meanwhile Ramaston was trailing Linda and 4 men accosted her and tried to pull her into a van. Linda fought off and Ramaston, being a big guy, lunged at the attackers and punched one in the face. He fell flat, unconscious. Then he stepped 2 more up front and kicked the second guy in the groin, and as he fell he hit the back of his head with a karate chop. One guy who was opening the front right door turned to join the fight and Ramaston quickly pulled him down and smashed his face on his knees. Linda was able to down one guy but one guy held her hands from the back. Ramaston quickly pivoted to his left and with his left hand gave a karate chop to the back of the neck of the man holding Linda's arms. Linda got free of the hold on her arms and Ramaston shouted at her to run. He moved quickly and held Linda's hand to run. Linda was quick and they ran. Their attackers were not as quick since they had to recover from their injuries first before they can run after the fleeing duo. Some of the cloaked operatives uncloaked at the alleyways where they could not be seen and walked to bump into the pursuing bad guys, causing some of them to fall. Ramaston pulled Linda into a crowded restaurant and Linda told him she would like to go to the restroom. Ramaston told Carlos to beam Linda into a time box and hold her until he can be with her. In the meantime Ramaston wanted to get to Ellie's office. As soon as Andrew was beamed out, Ribani, "Carlos, beam me over to the bank where Tony works." Ribani was beamed inside the restroom of the bank where Tony works as a manager. Just as he was walking towards Tony, 2 men entered the bank and each pulled out 2 small semi-automatic machine pistols and fired into the ceiling. Ribani quickly moved over to Tony and brought him under the table. He hid with him for a while and when Carlos told him that 2 men were looking for Tony, Ribani decided to beam Tony into the dark room, put to sleep and kept in a time box. Ribani thought this is too much of a coincidence. "Carlos, where's Eric?" "Right now he is buying coffee in a coffee shop in a small town near Las Vegas on the way to the solar farm." "Beam me there right now." He was beamed into the restroom as usual. When he got out women were looking at him and he realized he just came out of the women's restroom. "Carlos, that was a women's restroom," Ribani complained. The men's room was occupied. Eric was with a woman and Ribani saw them take a small table at the corner of the coffee shop near the door leading to a back patio. Just then 2 men who were wearing dark suits moved to the coffee line. Ribani noticed a gun tucked in a holster at the side of one of the men. One of the men left the line and moved over to Eric, and his partner followed 2 steps behind. Ribani walked to a table near them, appearing to look at the woman seated there. Then one of the men stood in front of Eric and showed his gun in the holster. The other showed his gun on a belt holster. They told Eric to come with them. Ribani was quick. He pulled up a chair and smashed it onto the back of the guy with a belt holster. Then kicked the knees of the other guy. As he fell, Ribani ran his right arm past his head, turned and grabbed his head and twisted in with his other hand. He fell dead with a broken neck. Meanwhile, Eric was quick and he punched the guy who was trying to stand up after being smashed with a chair. The guy was already holding his gun and Eric's punch made him pull the trigger and the gun went off, hitting the floor of the coffee shop. Then Ribani kicked the guy's head near the neck and squeezed. The people in the shop started running around and out the coffee shop. Ribani pulled Eric down and told Carlos to beam them out. Ramaston was beamed in a restroom nearest where Ellie was working. He is more alert this time and suspected some bad guys. His cloaked operatives told him 4 men just walked out of the elevator. Scan shows they have guns. Ramaston went straight to Ellie, who was using a laptop on her desk. He closed and locked the door. Ramaston, "Hi Ellie, I'm a friend of your dad." He extended his hand and Ellie stood and shook his hand. "Hello, how may I help you?" Just then the 3 men were at the door and trying to get in. Then they decided to barge into the door, but when they got in, the room was empty. Ramaston and Ellie were beamed to the Kligo ship. Padamo greeted them. "Ramaston, the enemy operatives are being tagged right now." "Hello Ellie, good to see you. Please have a seat. I have to go down and get Roger," Ramaston said. Padamo nodded at Roger. "Make it quick. Ribani is on to Tony already. We have to move fast. The enemy has a lot of people after our people. I have deployed all our marines and spies to tag the guys and pull them all out quickly." "Excuse me. I need to use the ladies' room," Ellie said. Padamo, who was alone in the bridge, directed her to the back of the small ship. When Ellie got out, Ramaston was back with Roger. "Hello, my name is Ramaston and this is Padamo." Roger was a bit dazed. "Glad to meet you too," Padamo continued, "and this is Ellie Rivers, Roger." "Glad to meet you, ma'am. Where are we?" Roger asked. "That's my maiden name. My last name is Nash," Ellie said. "I am sorry, but I don't have time to explain. I have to move and get some more people from getting hurt." Ramaston disappeared. Carlos appeared with a body and wearing the same DG team uniform Padamo was wearing. "Please have a seat. Would you two like some refreshments or something? I want some explanation if you don't mind," Roger said. "Okay, some orange juice would be good," Ellie said. A glass of orange juice appeared on the table at the middle of the bridge. Ellie got it and sipped. "Fine, get me a frappuccino," Roger said. A cup of frappuccino appeared where the orange juice was and Roger got it. "I would like to explain, but you may not believe it. I would suggest that you be very patient and let things unfold before you so you can understand. If I explain to you now, it would be unbelievable to you, to say the least. Right now we are in a small ship that is invisible or cloaked. Padamo, scan shows a ship parked 40 mly away at the back of a gas planet. Most probably Maccabee," Carlos explained. Ezra beams in and introduced herself to Ellie and Roger. "Carlos, send our taggers out to the ship," Padamo said. "There are only 800 Maccabees on the ship the size of a Vinta. Tagging will be done within the hour," Carlos said. "Beam them into time boxes, then we'll read their minds," Ezra said. Ellie and Roger were just watching the floating holograms and listening to the conversation. Riker's team is complete, 5 GX teams are complete, and there are now more than 100 people in time boxes. More than 500 will be beamed in within the hour," Carlos said. "Carlos, beam all our guests to the Crimson planet and tell Matanite to deal with them," Padamo said. "Can I finish my frappuccino first before you beam us again somewhere?" Roger asked. "Okay. Tell us when you're ready," Padamo said. Ribani beams in with Tony. He introduced himself to Ellie and Roger and introduced Tony to the group. "Where am I?" Tony asked. "Tony, we are in a small ship in space 80 mly from Earth. Would you like some refreshments, coffee, or tea perhaps?" Carlos asked. "I was about to eat lunch when you kidnapped me. I apologize for the inconvenience, but we had to move fast to save your lives. If you want to eat, we have some food in the small mess hall," Ribani said. "Do you have steak? I have wanted to get a good steak since this morning," Roger said. "Meto," Ellie said. "This way please." The 3 followed Carlos' 3 Kligo ships back to reach the small mess hall. Carlos told them to choose the food they like at the counter. They all picked the steaks and some steamed vegetables. Then they sat near the door. Ribani walks in with Andrew, Eric and Linda. Ribani introduced Andrew, Eric and Linda to the three and then directed them to the counter. "This is good steak. Very good steak," Roger commented. Ribani went to get 2 bottles of wine and sat beside Ellie. Carlos got some wine glasses and handed them out to the group. "So do you feed all the people you kidnap with steaks and let them drink wine?" Andrew asked. "Yes, Andrew, I am sorry we had to move fast, but we never realized there was a threat to your lives," Ribani said. "This is good wine," Eric commented. "We also have very good brandy if you like," Ribani offered. Carlos beamed in 2 bottles of brandy and some glasses. "How do you do that? Make things appear?" Ellie asked. "I take the bottles from our storage and beam them here. The glasses, I take from another part of the storage," Carlos said. "This is really good brandy. And this steak is so soft and tasty," Tony said. "You know I have to get to my wife, it's our anniversary party tonight," Andrew said. "Who's your wife?" Ribani asked. "Her name is Vicky," Andrew answered. "Carlos, get a Mac to tag her and bring her over." "Congratulations, how long have you been married?" Ellie asked. "We married right after college, but we were engaged right after high school. I just got married last week. I just met the guy 4 months ago and he wanted and pushed to marry me immediately." Carlos was quick. "I'm on it, Ribani." Ribani told Ezra telepathically to read Ellie's husband's mind. Just then Vicky appeared and Andrew stood to kiss her. "Is this one of your pranks again, Andrew?" Vicky asked. Andrew introduced Vicky to the group. "You are all in a small ship in space. There was an assassination plot on you guys and we had to step in to beam you here. The enemy is a Maccabee ship parked 40 MLY away. Based on our reading of their field operatives, they have been working on Earth for over a year now. We would be beaming in the Maccabees in time boxes and read their minds. We would like to know the extent of their operations," Ribani said. "You have to check their ship and study what's in their ships," Andrew commented. "Yes, our hackers will get in as soon as our Marines clean up the place of the bad guys," Ribani explained. "I'd like to see the ship," Ellie said. "Meto. Can we get to the ship and investigate?" Roger asked. "Sure, as soon as the Marines are done. Give them an hour," Carlos said. "So Vicky, what is it that you do?" Ribani asked. "I'm a science teacher. I also teach high school chemistry and calculus." "Do you have kids?" "No, but we plan to have one next year," Andrew answered. "Vicky, would you like anything to drink, wine, ice cream, food perhaps?" Carlos asked. "The wine is good." Vicky gestured to Eric to give her a wine glass. "I like some red wine please." "Vicky, honey, why don't you get yourself a steak? It's really good. Treat this as our anniversary steak dinner." "Are you trying to go cheap this time?" "It is really good," Tony commented. Carlos beamed a filet mignon and ribeye steak with side on a heated plate in front of Vicky. A fork and knife appeared at the top of the plate. Without any ado she got the fork and knife and sliced a piece of filet mignon. "This is really good. And the wine is really good too." She sliced a small part of the ribeye and gave it to Andrew. "Vic, the ribeye is also good. I got a New York." "Andrew, have a taste of this brandy," Ribani said and gave Andrew a half-filled brandy glass. "Wow, this is also good," Andrew exclaimed. Ezra walked in and, "Hi guys, I am glad you are all very comfortable. If you need to freshen up, just tell me. We can give you a change of clothes, but these would be Armada uniforms. The ship is clean. Our hackers are getting in right now. We can go as soon as you are all finished eating," Carlos said. "I wanted 2 more steaks," Tony said. "Me too, it's like I suddenly got famished," Roger added. "Okay, how about another one so we can be in the same disposition as Vicky here?" Ellie said. They all got another steak and some pasta. Carlos beamed more wine to the table. After half an hour they were all done. "Okay, we can go now," Andrew said. Carlos beamed the group to the bridge of the Maccabee ship. A Norset approached Ribani and Ezra. These guys did not go through a dimension gateway but traveled all the way here. Their armada was composed of 30 ships and they all dispersed into the various galaxies to get the key personalities. "I would have to go back to HQ and tell them about the situation and show them what we have here," the Norset explained and beamed out. "The Mac hackers are telling me that they do not know about the Crinsons and the Earth Macs. They went over to the Inky galaxies and the Mac Inky galaxies. They have made contact with some Earth criminal organizations who did not know they were dealing with alien beings. They were paid very well in diamonds so they did not ask too many questions. Their primary mission was to kill the target personalities," Ezra explained. "Wait, so these aliens came over here from their galaxies just to kill us? Me, Eric, Ellie, Linda, Tony, Roger and my wife?" Andrew asked. And thousands of others. You were tops on their list. They will move down the line, but they will have to move fast as the targets are all over the world. We have to move fast also to save their targets. Ribani said. And you know these target personalities? Andrew asked. Yes, all of them. But we cannot possibly get them all. So we move from the highest target down the line. Ribani told Andrew. Ellie and Vicky were moving around and observing the Macs work on the consoles. Eric and Roger went out of the bridge and through the hallway. Linda was quick and they noticed she was holding an ice cream cone. Hey, where'd you get the ice cream? Tony asked. It was on a separate counter at the far end near the door. Where did these Maccabees come from? Ellie asked. Ezra answered her. Their galaxies are more than 18 BLY away, and to travel that distance for at least 6 months just to kill you guys means you are very important. The question is, how did they know who to kill? Andrew said. And how did you know who to protect? Linda said and looked at Ezra. We would not know how they knew, not yet, but we know they do not expect us and they do not see our ship. And that's good. Ribani said. You will find out later, but why don't we tour this ship? Roger and Eric left the bridge already. Ezra said. Ellie walked around and, come on, let's go. Ellie said. The group toured the enemy ship and Ezra got a chance to explain some parts of the ship. They ended up at a hangar bay with several small attack ships. Roger and Eric were there looking at the smaller ships. Ezra told the Norsets to fly the ship to the planet where Rodin is. Along the way they deployed drone probes at proper distances to remain in contact with Patamo's ship. Carlos, make sure we have the needed provisions for the trip to Rodin and back to the Crimson planet. Carlos appeared and, yes Ezra. We are moving. Andrew said. He could see the stars at the far end of the hangar move past. Yes, we are moving to a planet where a few key personalities are hiding. He crash-landed earlier following an assassination attempt and we have several Marines, all cloaked, around him for his protection. We will arrive there in a few days. Patamo will remain near Earth to get all the personalities out. Ribani said. So you know all their target personalities? Andrew asked. Yes, and they are in the tens of thousands. We will have most if not all of them within a day. The Kligo ship will send them all off to our base so they could be more comfortable. The ship is a little cramped as you have found out. Ribani said. So we will be meeting with the other abductees? Ellie asked. Ellie, abductees is not really an apt word. You have to believe us that we did save your lives. You are not bound to do anything that you do not want to do. Ezra said. Well, Ribani here prevented me from getting killed by the assassin's guns. We were shot at and had Ribani not pulled me down we both could have been killed. Let's all go over to the mission room and I will explain or try to explain all of this. Maybe you can believe us or have at least an idea why we are doing this. Ribani said. The Maccabee mission room had 2 semicircle desks with large chairs. Ezra and Ribani were at the front of the room. Carlos appeared and, I am here to help in your presentation as requested. Andrew sat beside Vicky at the second semicircle desk. The others all took the first row of the semicircle desk. Linda moved to the second desk since she felt the first was too crowded. Ribani started, let me start by telling you that we are not from this universe. We came from another dimension. Our mission is to form the Armada that will take care of the problems of this universe which spans 40 BLY and more. Of course you would not believe this, but in time you will understand your roles in the scheme of things. You will also understand that there are bad guys in the universe and there are also good guys. You will also see so much suffering, carnage and evil, so much pain and so much heartaches not only by one or several persons but by billions of people, not only humans but different species. You will witness species eating other species and you will see species inflicting pain on other species. He stopped and stared at the floor. Then he looked up and there was a tear in his eyes. So much pain and so much evil. Just then Ramaston walked in. He was standing just outside the door before he came in. There was a pause. Ramaston started, but you will also see goodness and celebration. You will see so much technology and so much to learn. You will also live very long to enjoy the good things. So what would be our roles in this scheme of things? Andrew asked. Ribani was quiet and Ramaston was quiet. Ezra walked at the center of the room and, Andrew, you will lead this Armada, and all the people here are the major leaders of the Armada. There will be other major players and leaders of the Armada, but they would come from different species that you will meet later along this journey. How do you know we are qualified to do the task at all? Andrew asked. Why do you think you and Vicky were destined to be together for the rest of your lives? Ezra said, but did not even continue to say that this marital destiny could happen in a lot of other universes. I was a priest before I became a general in the infantry fighting an alien takeover of our planet. After that I became a planet administrator. Now here I am, a leader of an interdimension task force to bring the Armada together so that this universe will have less evil people or species. Why is that? Ribani asked. I think it's in the genes. Our propensity to do something is often dependent on how we are made up at that particular point in time. Ellie said. What would be my role in these scheme of things? Vicky asked. You will be the person who will lead all the scientists and decide on the direction of science and technology for the human race. Ellie would have that role in the Armada, covering all species in the Armada. Ezra said. What are these technologies? Vicky asked. A lot. But some of them will unfold before you as we go along. Ribani heard something over his implant. We had a breakthrough in the assassination plot. We have identified the leaders that the Maccabees hired to do the work. Carlos projected more than a dozen human faces. These people come from several criminal organizations across the globe. Andrew, how do you want to deal with these assassins? Rimaston asked. Is there a way to hypnotize them to not continue with their line of work? Andrew asked. But the power will only be transferred to their minions. I would say get all the money out of their bank accounts, out of their safes, their secret stash, or wherever else they keep their money. Roger said. We can do both. Ribani said. How? Andrew asked. Our hackers will hack into their computer systems and get into their online accounts, then they would transfer all their money out and deposit the amounts into government accounts. Then we will have the Crinsons blank out their minds and the minds of their leaders to never do evil ever again. Ezra said. You would have to do this with all the bad guys since their organizations are all over the planet. Eric said. Okay, then that is what we will do. Carlos, send out the hackers and tag the bad guys. Rimaston said. The operation will be done in a few days. In the meantime, Carlos will familiarize your group about the various alien species, what they are, what their problems are, and about our capabilities. After a while you may provide us with your input on how to deal with the issues. Ezra explained. 6 persons appeared before them. We have asked some of the other key personnel we abducted from Earth to join your group. This is Billy, Tony's cousin. This is Kirk Johnson, a crop duster. This is Jenny, a news helicopter pilot. This is Mr. Akio Ono, a race car driver, Rebecca Bott and Rabina Perek, both college science professors. Please have a seat. Ribani said. Carlos began a presentation to the group of what is happening in the immediate universe. He touched on the Inki problem, the Norsets, the Bofengs, then the Talonauts, then the Max and then the Marantais. It took more than 4 hours of presentation with no break. He just beamed in whatever they wanted during the presentation. Is that all we have to do? I thought there is more to it. Andrew said, and the group laughed. There's really a lot more. I can talk for a week and not finish. And you know all this because? Ellie asked. We have a wise alien. Ezra said, and Madanite appeared as a hologram. This is Mo. Ezra pointed out. The crowd laughed. Okay, of all the names your wise alien had to choose from, he had to pick a comedian's name. I am not sure that that is a wise choice. Roger said. More laughs. So this guy tells us what will happen? Tony asked. Not all. A lot depends on you and what you will do. He cannot tell the future perfectly but can lead you to good outcomes based on his perception of probable events. For example, your decision on what to do with the criminal organizations on Earth is not something we would know beforehand. We did not know there was a Maccabee ship that bribed the bad guys. So not all. Ribani said. But you would know where our decisions will go because of who and what we are. Andrew said. Yes. Carlos answered. You mentioned that we could all become telepathic and be able to communicate telepathically across great distances. Linda said. Yes. Carlos answered and went on to explain the process in a little more detail. You have to tell the Crinson if you do not want to be comedic. Can I opt out of this telepathic thing? I would agree to the implant though. Andrew said. Exactly my thinking. Roger said. Meto. Eric said. Yes, you may choose not to go through the Crinson and be telepathic. But it's also about getting the information needed for your work. Carlos explained. I would like to be telepathic. Vicky said. Meto. Ellie said, and the others concurred with Ellie. Explain to me, Carlos, how would we lead the Armada without some technical understanding of the technologies and warfare? Billy asked. You are all natural at this. As I said, the Crinson will give you all the technical information you want. You only must agree or tell the Crinson you want to have whatever knowledge you want to have. It will give you this knowledge, but not all. It will not overload your brain with useless information or with information you can get from somebody else. It will compress the information for you to easily access them. You will feel the same but feel that you have a little more understanding of things. You will feel that you think and process information in the same way you do now, but actually you are thinking and processing faster. Just don't forget to tell the Crimson if you want to be comedic or not. What's in it for us? Tony asked. Ribani cared to answer, nothing. But you will be happy. Money is not in any of your objectives. But when you save a species from slavery, from being eaten, from pain and heartaches, from the evil of your enemies, imagine your feeling. You cannot imagine it now. And when you are able to accomplish these tasks, you will feel tired and calm, not yet happy. Sometime later, when you are alone and try to feel yourselves, you will realize somebody is telling you that you did well and you will smile and feel happy. You will all be legends and heroes, but these are not what will drive you. You will have longer lives, maybe live another 700 years. This is just a natural consequence of our operations. I want to be paid with a lot of money for my services, Roger said. Carlos beamed several dozen large fist-sized diamonds in front of Roger. These diamond stones are worth more than $10 billion. You can have billions of times this much diamonds if you like. But this will not make you happy. You can agree on how much salary in diamonds you like. In the end you will realize these are just rocks and they will not make you happy. All of you here are of the highest class of warriors, thinkers and leaders in the galaxies. What sort of payment would be fitting to your kind of people? Tell us. Ribani exclaimed. I am not so sure I can even lead an armada. Andrew said. A while ago we had a Maccabee problem. We wanted a solution. We asked you, you gave us what you think, Roger told us what he thought. And we followed your lead. You basically settled a major encounter for us. Ezra said. Without even knowing about it. Ellie said. Exactly. As I said, you are all naturals in this game. By the way, the criminal organization's money amounted to $5 trillion worldwide and the CIA accounts just got fatter. If money was so interesting to you, you could have just asked for the money, but it was not the first thing that appeared in your head. And as you can see, we do not even have an account to put the money in. Our mission is not about money but about all of you here. Ribani said. Well, it did occur to me, but I guess it was not that important. Vicky said. Can we opt out? Tony asked. No. If we bring you down to Earth you will get killed by the criminal organizations. Especially now that they found out that their money is gone. Right now they are absolutely angry. Ezra said. You can opt not to participate and spend your lives here or wherever we go and not help in our missions. You can also opt to be left in another planet. In the end, you will help us. That is what you do. Ribani said. I'm hungry again. Larry, where do we eat here in this ship? Andrew asked. Wait, your name is Larry? Roger asked. Yes, my first name is Lawrence. Why? Ribani asked. I think we should wait for Joe. Eric said. They all looked at each other and laughed. You don't have to wait. Rimaston's first name is Jose. But his ID shows his name is Joe. Ribani said. They burst out laughing. The mess hall is this way. I will just beam your steaks and wines over. Carlos said. After 2 weeks they reached the planet where Rodin went down. In the meantime, Ezra and Ribani provided Andrew and his group with tablets and conducted lectures on Armada strategies. What to expect with Rodin, the Inki operations and the Norset operations. He also touched on the Talonot problems and the solutions. Our scan shows that Rodin and his group are in a large cave. Their ship is under the ocean. Sending taggers now. Ezra said. Rimaston was sitting in the captain's chair and several Norsets were manning the consoles. Rimaston, beam our marines up now. Let them take a break. Ribani said. Andrew, Vicky, Ellie and Roger walked into the bridge. They were followed by Linda and Eric. Rodin's group will be completely tagged in 10 minutes. Rimaston said. I think we should talk to the guy first, just to be sure. Eric, Linda, Ellie, Roger, are you guys up to this? Andrew asked. We have to beam you down as holograms first. Normally, people shoot at people who suddenly appear. Okay, that tall guy with the red sash is Rodin. The guy to his left is Gantley, the one with a green sash belt. Ribani explained. That's a woman. Ellie said. The other left, the one nearer the chair to the left. Greetings Rodin, Gantley. My name is Andrew, this is Ellie, Roger, Eric, Linda, and Ezra. Rodin's people shot at them. You already know we are holograms, why did you have to shoot at us? Ellie asked. Rodin answered, you just said greetings but you did not say whether you are our friend or foe or that you come in peace. I think it's proper to assume we come in peace when we appear before you and not shoot you from orbit. Eric countered. Okay, you got me there. Rodin said. So you shot us because? Andrew asked. It looks more dramatic and besides, you could have just beamed us to your ship but instead you come down and talk to us. Rodin said. Well, sir, we could have, but we did not, and we could also have shot back. But we did not. Ellie said. I think you were expecting us. It's not like you don't have a ship with scanning capabilities. Andrew said. Okay, we did see you and expected you to come down. We also know that you have a Maccabee ship which is abnormal in this areas. We would love to tell you, but what's in it for us? Andrew asked. Okay, what do you want? Roden asked. What I really want to know, first off, is why are you here, Roden? Did you actively seek us out? Andrew asked. Okay, we did hear something from the Maquis, but we are not sure. Roden said. They remained quiet. Why don't we invite you all to our ship? Maybe we can talk a little bit more serious over there. Gantley said, breaking the stillness. Why don't you come over to our ship? Ellie asked. We have something you would love to drink and you can bet on it. Linda said. An Inky behind Roden said, how much can we bet and what do we get if we win? Linda, I think we should not bet. After all, we would be betting against those who will judge whether they love it or not. Eric said. Okay, no more bets. I read you are vegetarians and I also read you like wines. We have something better than wines. Again, no betting needed. The Inkeys were beamed to the Maccabee ship bridge. Andrew introduced Ribani. He is the head of the operations, while Rimaston here is the captain of this ship since he's sitting on the captain's chair. Why don't we go to the mess hall to talk? The area is bigger. Ribani suggested. Andrew, I expect to have that drink Linda told us about. Roden said. Right this way. Andrew said. At the mess hall, Rimaston got several brandy bottles out of the shipping containers while Ezra and Linda got some glasses. They poured the brandy into several glasses and gave them to Roden and the Inkeys. If you made the bet you would have one. This drink is incredible. Gantley declared. Yes it is. We do not have this in our world. Roden said. The brandy is to welcome you to our world, Roden. Ellie said. Thank you. Roden said. Roden, tell us, what is it that you were expecting us to help you with? Andrew asked. First, I got some rumors from our Maquis that there are Maquis who are trained warriors. Are you these warriors? Roden asked. Maybe, what's in it for us? Roger countered. Okay, we understand that there are several planets, 5 I think, that the Intis have taken over. And we also know the Furlets have formed an alliance with the Intis against you. Andrew said and looked at Ribani then to Ezra. We also know that there was an assassination plot against you, and since you are alive, then the assassins have failed. Ezra added. We can fix your problems. We will provide you with the technology to defend your planets and create better ships. We just need you to give us some ships. 200 of your best ships. We would need the 200 ships to help another species rid itself of its occupiers. Andrew said and seems to have taken charge of the situation, but he still has doubts. We just need to go back to our planet base to get our people to do this. Roden said. Roger is not so sure what he is talking about. Maybe it's a good idea to go through the Crimson, he thought. Okay, 200 ships, but we will give you half up front and half after you get the job done. Roden said. We need 200 ships to free your planets. So we need them all up front. Ribani said. If we don't get the job done, that means we shall have been killed. There is no other outcome that we can see. Andrew said. You have more than 2,000 ships and you want to go cheap on us, Roden? Ribani asked. Okay, you win. Roden said. Roden, remember, 200 of your best ships, not your oldest but your newest. Not the smallest but the biggest and newest. And all our operations must be kept in secret. Andrew said and Roden nodded. I will now fly the ship to the Crimson planet. Rimaston said and Andrew nodded. After 2 weeks the Maccabee ship is within beaming range of the Crimson planet. Andrew and Roden were at the bridge with Ribani. When we go down, Andrew, the teams will see you as their leader, so try to be the great Armada leader that you are. I have no idea what you are talking about. Andrew said. Don't worry, Andrew, I will always support you and whatever you decide to do. Roden said. See, Andrew, Roden could be your biggest fan. Trust yourself and your team here. Ribani said. The teams, humans and Inkeys, have beamed down to the Crimson and they will be out in about 30 minutes. Ezra said. Roger and Eric walks in with the women and other top leaders. So you do not want to be telepathic and smart? Andrew asked. I trust myself, boss. Roger said. Carlos beams in and, welcome Andrew, Roden, Roger and Eric. The ships the Max built for you will arrive tomorrow. What ships? Roden asked. The Max started to build the 3 ships 2 months ago using the parts from Ezra's dimension. One ship is for Andrew, another for Billy and the last would be for Ellie as a science ship. The ships include the humans, Max, Norsets and Inky crew members, which are half the needed crew. They are all part of the Armada of the other dimension and they bring with them a wealth of information. They will train your people and they will show you how to operate the ships. How many humans, Max, Norsets, and Inkeys? Andrew asked. 15,000 humans, 30,000 Max, 25,000 Norsets, and 30,000 Inkeys. About a tenth of these numbers are scientists for Ellie's ship. Right now the Kligo ship is near this planet. After getting all our people out from Earth, we'll beam them down. We would have to fly this Maccabee ship back to Earth to assist the Kligo ship in the operations. Carlos explained. Patamo's hologram appeared beside Ribani. I am beaming our target personalities to the planet now. The Kligo ship is full like I have never seen it filled with so many humans. I have to go back and get more of our targets. Rimastun. Take this ship to Earth and help get our people out. Ribani said. That would help. I think the ship has space for at least 10,000 more people. Patamo said. I can leave immediately as soon as Carlos beams Andrew and the top personalities to the planet. Rimaston said.